Well, your amendment is very clear. Such disclosure only where express consent has been sought and received. So we would want a database probably the size of County Cavan to hold all of these notional consents. And I go back to the original point. Who is going to consent in this Shangri-La? Who is going to consent to have their information shared with the Revenue Commissioners, for instance, between Social Welfare and the Revenue Commissioners? Or who is going to consent to have their information shared between the Register of Electors and the Court Service in the compilation of the jury duty? I mean, the net result of what's being proposed here, Count Corley, and I think it has phased an awful lot of people. This is a bill that is designed to give legal effect to things that we're already doing. And Deputy Ryan, what your proposal would do actually would undermine everything that we do already, many of which we do in the Farmer Department that you headed up. And I think, you know, particularly in relation to families who are dependent on social welfare payments, and I mentioned the back-to-school clothing and footwear loans, where you would have to have consent given in relation to new mothers, where the children's allowance comes, and the information that's shared with the public health nurses. They're busy enough at the time of the delivery of the child and the changes that bring. But can you imagine the bundle of papers that's going to arrive in the letterbox or be sent home from the maternity hospital, courtesy of these amendments, where you have to give consent to all of the following. And then from there on out, you have to give consent for everything. And Deputy O'Brien, I understand where you're coming from. But in relation to, for instance, if you had a situation between the Department of Agriculture, an overpayment, the Revenue Commissioners and Social Protection, and an investigation was needed, and you had to ask somebody for their consent to be investigated. Now, you know, this utopian world that we're now trying to inhabit, you know, that the state is somehow out to get you, where we're now going to be all cuddly. And Deputy Wallace, you said maybe 99% of the people will consent. Well, if 99% of the people consent to have their information shared between the Revenue Commissioners and Social Welfare, I must be definitely inhabiting a different world to the one in which some people in this House are inhabiting. And this bill is giving legal certainty to services that we're already doing, and those services, and the net result of those services and the amendments that have been passed here this evening, we're going to have a problem now, are being undermined by this House here tonight, and I think people would want to start taking this a bit more seriously. I know it is the night before the breakup, but this is a very important bill that public services could potentially be undermined by some of the carry-on here this evening, and this is very serious, Count Corley.